Welcome back, folks. I wanted to make this quick video. I'm not entirely sure how quick it's going to be. As you can see, the duration is a certain number of minutes. I don't know. I just turned the camera on and I'm just going to tell you what's been going on lately. I have my list of topics and stuff to kind of go over. But the main reason I haven't been posting, or I have a list of reasons why I haven't been posting videos lately. I know it's been, about a month or so since I've posted anything. I used to be posting, decently regularly, but I have a number of reasons why I haven't. So I wanted to tell you guys. If you're not interested and you don't care about like why I haven't been posting videos or whatever, then feel free to go on to something else. First reason number one, I started a new job back in the first week of June. It's another news job like my previous one. I am a news photographer, so basically, if there's like news stories going out or going on in the city, they send me out to get interview somebody or just film what's going on, come back to the station and edit it and throw it up into the show. That's basically what I do, and it's a full-time job, and it's now further away than my previous news job. My previous news job was about a 45-minute drive, and that was just as a studio camera operator, which was, I loved it. It was a great job. I really did. It just didn't pay the greatest. The pay was kind of, I was like, how does anyone survive on this? And so I was looking for something else, and the job that I did get ended up falling through. It wasn't what I was expecting, and I was like, I don't want to do this. So I tried to get my job back at the news station, and then they had already filled the position. So I was kind of in a lull for a while. And then I found this new job. It's a different station. It's an hour and 15-minute drive from where I live. And I enjoy it. It's kind of slow at times. So a lot of the times I'm just sitting at my desk kind of wondering what I should do. I try to look busy and everything, and we get like one or two stories. Sorry about that, guys. My audio receiver for my mic died, so here's part two. I think my audio cut out when I was talking about my new job. So we get like one or two stories, and then we have like the live shots and stuff in the afternoon for the evening shows and all that. Good job. I don't mind it. It's a little boring at times, but other than that, it's good. But the second main reason that I don't want to say stopped, but the second main reason that haven't posted anything yet lately is that my father passed away this past May. It was real tough. If no one's interested in hearing this, I understand. A lot of times I don't want to hear all the sad stuff about other people's lives. So if you're not interested, you can skip to this timestamp. That'll be the next topic. My father passed away May 10th of this year, 2023, and it was and still is very, very hard without him. I was very close with my father. I loved him very much. He was a devout Christian scholar and everything. He became a Christian back in when he was 24 years old, and so that was at like the 70s or something like that. Yeah, 70s, something like that. No. So he was born 48. If he was 24, 20 years would be 68. Yeah, early 70s. Anyways, so, and from the moment he became a Christian in this at age 24 to the day he died at age 75, he was a devout Christian and a Bible scholar. The amount of books, like what are they called, commentaries and stuff that he's had, that he's bought, studied, memorized, and then sold later throughout his lifetime, I lost count. He knew just about anything and everything you could imagine about the Bible. That he studied for himself, learned from other people. He had a very close group of Christian brothers. He taught numerous different types of Bible studies. He was never a pastor at a church or anything like that, but he was just like he was a deacon and at a number of different churches and everything. Like I said, many different Christian brothers that he had and stuff. And it was quite a privilege to grow up around a man like him. I never really claimed to be a Christian while I was growing up, or at least I did as a child, just because I was around it, and that's just like, oh, well, my parents are Christians, I guess I'm one too. But in my early years, I started to rebel and didn't want to go to church and stuff with them, because I didn't find it wasn't entertaining, because that's what I thought church was about. It was supposed to be fun and entertaining, but it was boring to me, and I didn't want to be a part of it. So that was at like 12, 13 or so. And then when I was 27 or 28, so it was like, 2017, 2018, I was in the Army and I got deployed to Africa. And that's where I became a Christian. The Holy Spirit just came upon me and convicted my heart of all my sins and everything as a young man. And I talked to my father about it. My father and I were extremely close. I talked to him every day, and I loved talking to him. He was my best friend, my foundation, everything that anytime I had any issues with anything, or if I just wanted to talk to somebody about whatever, I could always call him. He was always a welcoming ear, a shoulder to cry on. He was give you any advice and everything that was Christian based, and it was a pleasure to have him, to be around him and everything. But he was overweight for the majority of his life, which caused his knees to give him a lot of trouble and everything. He ended up losing a lot of the cartilage in his knees, so it was bone on bone and stuff when he would walk. And which caused him to be more sedentary, which then caused him to gain more weight, and it was just kind of it just continuously built from there, to where it all came to a head, to where he started to have lymphedema issues. If you're not familiar with lymphedema, it's basically your lymph system that runs throughout your body, helps move fluid and stuff throughout your body. I'm probably getting this wrong, but it's not so much waste, but it's just kind of like fluid to keep your muscles and stuff and everything kind of lubricated and all that jazz. And it's not, the lymph system is not vascular like your heart or arteries to where it pumps and stuff. The way it gets fluid throughout your body is you moving around and contracting your muscles and but if you're just sitting there sedentary and not moving, your lymph system just kind of tends to stagnate and just sit. So my father had lymphedema in his legs, where his legs would swell up, and then it started to push through his skin tissue in his legs and started to leak out, which could cause an infection and all that jazz. So he got that taken care of, and then a whole lot of dramatic family history. He ended up moving down to Kentucky with a few friends of his and everything. He lost a bunch of weight. He came back and moved into the house that I'm sitting in, that me and my father lived in for a number of years. And he was doing real good for a long time. He lost all this weight. He got new clothes. He was being more active. He was going out to like nursing homes and with a few other of his Christian brothers and singing songs and stuff to the elderly. and having a little Bible study and all that. It was, he was doing real good. And then he's also had arthritis for a number of years. And he helped my sister move something, or he did something where he kind of overexerted himself. And he had this massive, like 9-month-long flare-up in his hands to where his hands were aching for 9 months straight. And I remember him telling me, he says if he could, he would have cut his hands off at the wrist or something because they hurt so bad. And I've not had arthritis, or anything like that, but, I can certainly imagine how painful that would have been. So, like I said, he was doing really well. He was being very active and everything. And and because of that arthritis flare-up, he couldn't stand up, and he could, but his hands ached so bad he couldn't, stand out in the kitchen and chop up vegetables and do all this stuff and eat the healthy food. So he resorted back to driving out and getting fast food, which then in turn to him gaining weight, and then his knees hurting more because he was heavier, and then it was a compounded issue to then him becoming more and more sedentary, and then it just kind of spiraled down from there. And then I say within the last 6 months or so, or maybe longer than that, maybe the last 9 months, he developed this cough. He just seemed like he always had to clear his lungs for some reason. And I was concerned. I was like, well, Dad, maybe it's this COVID thing or whatever. We never got COVID. We never got sick with anything. No issues of any sort. We were blessed that we never got it. And I was like, well, Dad, maybe it's like an underlying COVID issue or something like that. And I was like, well, Dad, why don't we go to the doctor and get you checked out? And he's like, no, I'll be fine. Dad never liked to go to the doctor. That's just the way he was. It's not that he was against doctors. He just, it was just a big hassle for him to get up, get ready, go out there and, and go out in public and all that jazz. And it was too much of a trouble to get himself out there, and he just didn't want to go through with it. So he just never went. And then, leading up to, I finally got him to agree to go to a doctor the morning of us having to rush him to the ER. Like, we had appointments scheduled. I was like, all right, we're going to take you to the doctor that morning. And then he got up, he woke me up early in the morning. We were supposed to go at like 9 in the morning. And then he woke me up earlier, and he goes, something's wrong. We need to call 911 right now. So that's what I did. The fireman came, helped him out to the ambulance. I followed him to the ER, and they were there. They had oxygen on him and all this stuff, and I was standing there talking to him. He was okay, and then he just slowly started to lose. He couldn't focus, and it's because he couldn't breathe. They said he was really swollen. He had all this fluid build up in him. So long story short, they had to sedate him, which is basically put him to sleep, give him some medication to put him to sleep, and then they intubate him. They stuck a tube in his throat to help him breathe and put him on a ventilator. And so they got him up, and they moved him up to the ICU for a full day, and then they gave him Lasix, which is basically a medication that tries to force all of the fluids out of your body and everything. It's a diuretic, a severe, aggressive diuretic, basically. And it didn't work. It just, nothing worked, He's just sitting there just swollen and everything, and he was intubated for, I think, a day and a half. And I stayed with him the entire time. My sister and her family, and then just me. And we finally got to the point where the doctor or surgeon or whatever his job title was or whatever, he says, well, the next step is dialysis, where they stick a line in your neck, I think is where it was. Is it a fistula? Can't remember. They basically stick a line in your neck, and then they have to pull all of the blood out run it through like a filter thing because his kidneys weren't working, basically. That's why. His kidneys weren't functioning properly. That's why he was filling up with fluid and everything. So dialysis basically takes over for your kidneys and everything, so it pulls all the blood out, filters it and everything, and then they put it back in. So it's a very long process, and it's very exhausting for the folks. And, for the folks that do know what dialysis is and have gone through it, it is exhausting. My grandmother went through it, and she ended up dying because she's like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I don't blame her. But anyways, that was the next step. It's either that or we just kind of step back and just let things happen, as it were. And my sister and I were going back debating on, or not debating, but talking about what do we think Dad would want, or what do we think would be the best option. And I had suggested, I was like, why don't we just, go ahead with the dialysis just to get the fluid off him and then wake him up enough to where he can make his own decision. And my sister was like, no, I don't think that's what Dad would want. And then, we talked it over for a few more hours and such. And then we agreed to just wake him up enough to where we could ask him and he could give us a nod or shake his head or whatever. And that's what we did. They took off this sedation medication and everything. He woke up enough, and he still had the tube in his mouth, so he was still being kind of breathed for. We woke him up enough, and we talked to him, and the doctor came in and explained the whole thing to him very clearly. It was like, look, here's what's going on. Here are your options. What do you want to do? And he says, do you want to go through with dialysis? And he shook his head, and we're like, are you sure about that? Of course, all of us are just, completely, overly emotional about it because it's our father, We loved him very much. And so we got him like a little dry erase thing, and he wrote on it, and he says, I'm just... He says, I'm ready to go on to Jesus. He says, this has been really tough, and he says he loves us. He said it had been really tough and that he wanted to go. Anyways, sorry, I've told myself I wouldn't cry over this anymore, but yeah, he said he just wanted to go, so we had to respect his wishes, and we eventually pulled the tube out and everything. And he couldn't talk really well because having a tube in your throat it messed with his vocal cords quite a bit, and so it was very gravelly and raspy and everything. But he eventually talked to us, and we got to talk to him, and everyone in his like fellowship groups and the house church and stuff, and the Bible study group that he was a part of. All those people got to come and say their goodbyes, and we hung out with him and talked with him for hours. And I stayed with him that night, and eventually he fell asleep. And, at like, I think 5 or so in the afternoon, and then was asleep all night. And then the next morning they moved him from the ICU to kind of a hospice room where they just kind of sit there and just kind of let nature take its course, basically. I didn't sleep much that night because I wanted to just watch him in case anything happened. And he just slept all night. And then the next morning they moved him to his new room, and my sister came up about, like 9:30, 10 o'clock or so. And so she was taking over, and I was going to go home and, get cleaned up and such. And he started to get kind of wheezy, or not wheezy, but kind of phlegmy so when he was breathing. basically, it sounded like he really needed to clear his throat, basically with the same issue that he'd been having for months. And so I came home, and I was getting ready to take a shower, and my sister calls me, or my nephew rather, he calls me and says, "Hey, you need to come back. It doesn't look good." So I raced back, and while I was pulling into the garage, the parking garage at the hospital, my sister called me and said that he had already passed away. So I missed being at his side by about 10 minutes. But I got to be with him for the last 7 years or so. Yeah. So, he passed away, and then my sister and I had to start taking care of all the the legal business and everything of dealing with the house and his funeral and everything, and all that. It's been very. All that to say, I've just been very busy dealing with all that, and it's still not finished. Dealing with all of Dad's stuff. Or still working with an attorney to kind of basically of what to do with the home and everything. I'm basically trying to buy it from my father, and it's just a lot of paperwork and a lot of legal stuff that we have to go through. So I've just been very busy with that. And just because of that, I haven't felt the, I don't know, I haven't felt the desire to create any content like that, like I have been making. I've just been emotionally drained and emotionally exhausted and everything dealing with all this, so I'm sure most of you will understand. Okay, so next topic. On top of all that, I've also been busy trying to get my professional video business off the ground as well. Trying to reach out to potential clients for video work and stuff like that, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to become a full-time filmmaker or, video producer or whatever. I love working with cameras. I love editing and stuff. It's a lot of fun, getting creative and talking with people and all that. So, I've been real busy trying to find clients and stuff, and trying to make my own professional stuff. That way I can show them and be like, hey, this is what I can make. Do you want something similar? Look at, that kind of thing. So I've been real busy with that. And if anyone's interested, I'll post a link to my professional YouTube channel. It's basically, I post my work there. That way when people say, hey, well, let me look at your work, I send them there. So if anybody's interested, you can check it out. It's not really, it's just kind of like, I do work for like clients and stuff, and then I just put it there. It's just kind of a dump file, that YouTube channel. So if you want to check it out, by all means, it's down below. And the next reason, I kind of ran out of ideas. I ran out of, content to make. I was doing a lot of Lotra videos for a while, and I just kind of ran out of content to make for that. I stopped playing the game a long time ago. I got bored of it, or burnt out of it rather, because I had been streaming that game for a long time, and I just hadn't played it for a long time, and I ran out of ideas of what kind of content to make of it. I made all the content I could think of, and I just ran out of ideas. And that kind of falls into the next reason, or the next topic, I guess, was I tried to make different videos of like different types of content and everything like that. Are you a true gamer? That was meant to be kind of funny and of just like how ridiculous like PC gamers and just regular gamers are, of like, it's so beautiful outside, but we want to shut all the curtains and sit in our rooms and, in the dark and play video games and eat, unhealthy snacks and drink, soda pop and all that stuff. It was meant to be funny and cringy and stuff, but maybe it came off kind of odd or something. A lot of people told me they were confused. Some people were like, what is this garbage? So I tried to make that kind of stuff. Didn't really seem to take off. Nobody really liked it, or they were confused about it or whatever. So I'm just like, well. So those two kind of topics kind of run hand in hand. It was like, I tried to come up with some funny ideas and stuff to do, and nobody really liked them. So I'm just like, I don't know what to make anymore. I have some ideas of stuff, but whether or not you guys are, would even care about them, I don't know. It's just stuff I'm interested in. Like right now I'm playing through LA Noire for the second time. Really great game. I love the whole 1940s aesthetic. Men wearing suits and looking very proper, and I love the cars back in that era, the 1940s cars. Such beautiful design. The cars today are just garbage compared to those cars. Just beautiful designs. Anyways, but yeah, I love that style. The music's wonderful. And it's just, yeah, I love it. So I was thinking of making some videos about that. I don't know if you guys are interested in anything like that. People have already made dozens of videos covering that game. Not much more else I could say about it that hasn't really been said already. But, I mean, get my perspective on it, I guess. And then the new Gollum game came out, which was met with a firestorm of hate because it was just really unprepared when it was released. They just it wasn't done, but I don't know what the deal is with game studios all of a sudden within the last, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years of just releasing games before they're officially ready. And then you got all these fans who are like, what is this garbage? And then the studios has to be like, release an apology letter saying, oh, we're sorry, it's not, we'll do everything we can to make up for it and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why don't you just release it when it's ready? Why are you guys like, I don't know. I'm sure there's like legal back stuff, like, the developer or whatever, the producer, whichever is saying, hey, this game has to go at this certain time for this reason or whatever. And they have, all their legal stuff. I don't know. But it's just, it really puts a black mark on them when they release a game that's not ready yet. Whatever. Yeah, it's just, that's it all in a nutshell. I've just been busy with my new job, dealing with all my father's stuff, trying to get my video business off the ground. And then I just, I tried to make some fun content that nobody really cared for. And because of that, I just ran out of ideas. But yeah, I mean, that's about it. I'm sure I'll get back. I'm sure I'll get back to making some content. Feel free to leave me some suggestions. I always say that at the end of my videos. If you have any comments or suggestions for future videos, let me know. But yeah, truly, if you guys are wanting to like, hey, make a video on cats or something, I don't know, like make a video on something, just throw me some ideas, but I'm kind of, I have a few ideas, but I don't know how or how to execute them or even if I should. Like I just got like, I don't know, 7 new subscribers over the last few weeks. And I'm just like, why? I haven't posted anything in a while. Um, yeah, I don't know. If you guys are just like, hey, check out this game, let me know what you think, sort of thing. I don't know, review style or something. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. What I should, what kind of content you guys would want from me. Like I said, I haven't played Lotro in a very long time. I don't know what else content I could make for that, unless you want me to rehash stuff I've already made, which just seems kind of silly. But yeah, I'm sure I'll get back to making some content and stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be kind of slow going, like I said, because I'm real busy with a lot of other stuff at the moment. So, but I just wanted to come on here and say, what's been going on. That way, you guys, aren't, I'm not super popular enough for people to be like, why haven't you made anything? I'm not like, if I had like 100 million or 100 million, if I had like 100,000 subscribers and I was posting like, once a week or, a couple times a month and stuff, and people are like, bro, you just stopped. What's wrong? Different story, but with not even 1,000 subscribers. Granted, I'm very appreciative of every single one of you. But like if I was much, much larger as far as YouTube goes, and then I just stopped, I'm sure a lot more people would be like, bro, what's wrong? Why are you not posting anything? I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, I'm sure I'll get back to making some content once I come up with a decent idea and things kind of slow down. But yeah, like I said, if you guys have any ideas of stuff you'd like me to make, let me know. Other than that, we'll see you whenever I'm able to make anything. Peace.